What does the USA do better than other countries? We are simultaneously one of the fattest countries in the world and one of the most athletic countries in the world. Sometimes we combine the two and make offensive and defensive lineman. Might sound dumb, but mail. USPS handles half of the world's volume of mail any given day. The facility I work at processed 16 billion pieces in 24 hours a few days before Christmas. Guitars. Almost every significant guitar ever made is American. Bands from every part of the world use American guitars. Entertainment. The variety, the output, the grand scale of it, no other country comes close. As a Mexican, it pains me to say this, but breakfast food. Dear God, there's nothing like an all-American breakfast. Tech innovation. The space industry. Confidence. There's a reason that the type of impossible rags to riches story is branded as the American dream, because by and large, the people most likely to follow the dream and believe in its achievability are American. The creation of the country in and of itself was an impossibility given their opponent in the Revolutionary War, and yet they succeeded. I don't remember the exact quote, but a general in the early days of the country said, "A British soldier will do what you tell him. An American will as well, but he will first want to know why you told him to do it." That sort of confidence to challenge authority in such a brazen manner is intrinsic to the nation and its people, and it's unlike any other national identity on the planet. Oh, and chain restaurants. Sandwiches. All of the best sandwiches were invented and perfected in the United States. This is due to having the widest variety of sandwich ingredients, due to size and the whole great melting pot thing, and the willingness to put anything edible between two carbs to see what sticks. Currently spending 2 weeks in Europe. I've been to Italy and I'm in Greece right now. I would say the United States controls graffiti so much better. I was not prepared for the amount of graffiti all over the place in Italy and in Greece. All these beautiful buildings and wonderful architecture, that small like art is just covered in graffiti. I'm going to Germany next and will end my trip in Switzerland, so I'll see how they do. Entertainment. Disney Empire alone, Princesses and now Star Wars and Marvel/Avengers, has probably reached 90% plus of the civilized world. Stealth planes. Since the 70s, the US has developed 4 iterations of stealth aircraft, the F-117, the B-2, the F-22, and the F-35. In the same period, the European military-industrial complex has further refined the 4th-generation fighter concept. Russia has designed a single half-assed prototype, and China has put together a few different airframes, trying out a few different stealthy techniques, but nothing completely integrated yet. As a Belgian who lived in Texas and North Carolina for about a year, barbecue and a welcoming attitude to strangers. I was blown away by the hospitality, like random strangers helping me out or inviting me to their homes. I really miss that in Europe, where that is reserved for acquaintances and friends only. I would say that the USA makes the best movies. I don't think any other country can compete in quality and quantity. Have variety. The people are so vastly different, the culture, food, religious choices, etc. The country itself is also so different. Miami to New York to Kansas to Nebraska to Alaska, they are so different from one another, but they're all part of the USA. Grocery store variety. No other country that I've been to has grocery stores that compare to American stores in terms of sheer quantity and variety. I've seen grocery stores where the quality is higher, or where you can find things that you wouldn't in American grocery stores, but they don't touch the variety. Most of the things I need to make any type of cuisine are not only readily available, but I can usually pick between several brands. Occasionally, there will be some vegetable or spice that isn't available at my local grocery store, so I drive an extra 10 minutes to go to the farmer's market that has a more international selection. Absolute worst case, I may need to drive to a specialty store. Since my family is originally from India, we make a trip out to the Indian store every few months, but really there's only a few things that are available there exclusively. Now granted, I live in a large city and that certainly helps. But I think even small-town US grocery stores have greater variety than their foreign counterparts. Americans themselves. Seriously though, going to the US is amazing. People are open and nice and won't hesitate to chat up strangers. They seem genuinely interested in who you are and where you're from. I could write a book about all the things wrong with the US, but despite all that it remains my favorite place to visit due to the way they treat foreigners. There's no other country quite like it. Candy. God, I miss fruit by the foot. My mom brought some back when I was still in high school and my friends latched onto it faster than cocaine. I'm still not entirely sure it doesn't have drugs in it, I crave it so much. Nerds and fruit gushers are close contenders. Also beef jerky, holy shit, I miss the US. I think the Constitution is an amazing piece of work. Sure, some parts could have been more clearly written, but as a living document, it's pretty amazing. It's basically instructions on creating a government. It's unfortunate that the two-party system evolved out of it, and some of the rules basically inevitably led to only two parties, because more than two parties makes it difficult to reach some of the minimum vote requirements. But aside from that, it's pretty amazing. Hats off to those forefather guys. The United States tends to recognize, reward, and encourage excellence better than any other country or culture I can think of. Americans, as individuals and as a nation, do not apologize for winning or being the best. They will heap glory on it and gloat without reservation or hesitation. And if they think someone else is better than them, they will work their ass off to become better. Hotel rooms. I have flown all over the world during the last 30 years, and while I have stayed in some really nice 5-star hotels and resorts internationally, most non-luxury hotels in the rest of the world would be considered worse than our economy hotels. Very small rooms with tiny beds with only a comforter and a thin single pillow and no microwave/refrigerator. You are very lucky if the hotel has air conditioning or even a fan. Most only have enclosed showers that are so small you barely turn around in them. Yet in most hotels in the United States you get a room with 2 queen beds with sheets, blankets, at least 2 pillows per bed and a comforter, air conditioning, a small refrigerator, a microwave, and usually free Wi-Fi that is actually fast enough to be useful. You get all of this in our cheap hotels, usually with a breakfast buffet included. If you wanted similar rooms internationally, you would likely be paying much more for them. High-income professions. Not that they don't exist in similar quantities in Europe or Asia, but the sheer amount of income you can make as a doctor, lawyer, engineer, or businessman in the United States is absurd. I have a relative that's a senior partner at a huge international law firm, and he says that his colleagues in the UK and the Netherlands with the same title make pitiful salaries for the same work, even after adjusting for the cost of living and exchange rate. Add on to that the very corporate-friendly and, as of now, high-income-friendly tax laws. America probably isn't the best place to be poor, but I'd argue it's one of the best places to be rich by far. The First Amendment. My country, Australia, has traditionally held freedom of speech in high regard. It's a vital part of any functional democracy after all, but free speech is not written into our constitution. The only things protecting it are a number of high court rulings and the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. In the past it didn't matter, free speech was just a universally accepted part of society. But in this day and age freedom of speech is being threatened, and the arguably weak protections my country has just aren't enough. From my understanding the situation is similar in the UK, Canada and New Zealand. I think America has the right idea with the First Amendment and just their well-protected rights in general. Immigration. Although it's very difficult to immigrate to the US takes in more immigrants than all other countries combined in the world. 1. Have awesome geography. Every type of landscape and climate from polar, Alaska, to tropical, Hawaii/Flare. Incredible natural resources, largest oil reserves in world, geographic isolation from all but 2 other countries, with whom we have excellent relationships. Thousands of miles of water separating us from Europe and Asia, the world's largest strip of fertile land between the Rockies and the Appalachians. 2. Inventions. Literally every cool major invention for the last 120 plus years has either been an American inventor or successful, because of American commercialization. This is the great source of our country's wealth: air conditioning, cars, television, computers, airplanes, smartphone, all kinds of appliances. These are the most important recent inventions of mankind and are all American.